Hey guys, thanks so much for all the questions that I got. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get through all of them, but this is going to be another more unedited video, so I'm sorry if you can hear my housemates cooking in the kitchen, because I'm right above the kitchen. So you'll probably hear that a lot. They tend to laugh a lot too, so you'll probably hear a lot of that as well. I apologize in advance. Oh, and I'm right next to the street. My window faces a street that is about a meter away. So, again, with the cars. So, with that out of the way, let's just address all the questions right now, every single one at the same time. First one came from Casey Mod. This was on Discord. Are you in Tokyo for study? Kind of. I'm studying Japanese, but it wasn't the purpose for the visit. The main reason I came to Japan was actually for work. So I've been studying Japanese for a while now. I picked it up in primary school in like grade 7. And then I decided I really liked it, got into some more Japanesey stuff. Then I never touched it again. Then I picked it up in high school because I picked up some more Japanesey stuff. More on that because I know someone else asked about that in another question, but more on that then. But yeah, so I hadn't learned Japanese for a while because I finished high school a while ago, and I didn't even do it through all of high school because I had to focus on all science subjects if I wanted to get into university, so I had to drop Japanese. But then I picked it up again when I decided randomly with 8 other friends of mine to go to Japan in like 2015 or something. And yeah, I was spending a month there, so I learned a little bit. So I could go somewhere other than McDonald's to order food. I say a lot. I really don't mean to. It's the sound of my inner cogs turning for thinking. See, I did it again. I didn't even mean to. So sorry, you guys. But yeah, so I'm not really here for study, to kind of summarize the question. Not really here for study, but I am picking it up a lot since I have been here for 6 months. So I pick it up on my day-to-day, and I actually visit my local city office because they have volunteer Japanese teachers. It's basically just a bunch of old ladies that have like nothing to do, so they come in and work as Japanese teachers. I don't really know why. They get terrible pay, but it's really sweet. My teacher is so wholesome and so nice. I honestly don't know what I would do without her, because without her I would be ordering from McDonald's every day still. Thanks for the question. Do you know a good amount of conversational Japanese? Relevant. Also from Casey. I'm just gonna go with Casey. I think it is Casey Mode. I think my housemates are like having some sort of celebration. One of them's leaving soon, so I'll probably join that after this. Do you know a good amount of conversational Japanese? 多分。私の日本語ちょっと悪いです。でも、頑張れ。No, my Japanese is pretty bad actually, but after living here for 6 months, I think I have an average amount of Japanese for someone who has to use it every day. Thanks for the question. Have you played any of the Castlevania games? If so, which ones? Also from Casey. Casey, I love you so much. Have I played the Castlevania games? Yes, I played a bunch of them when I was growing up. I don't really remember which ones because they all sort of blur together for me. I do distinctly remember Symphony of the Night, I think it was. And man, I spent way too much fucking time on that game. But yeah, no, I think they're great. When the reboots came out a while ago, are they the reboots? Is that what you call them? You know, the fancy like 3D ones where you play as, you know, whatever Belmont. Yeah, those were fun. I didn't really play them all the way through though, because the first one was terrible. Sorry. But yeah, big fan of the Castlevania games. Mainly the music, which is kind of weird, but like when I heard Bloody Tears as a kid for the first time, I was like, damn, that's tight. Thanks for the question, Casey. Which of the Castlevania characters, not just the main trio, is your favorite? Dracula, easy. He's, oh man, just, if we're talking about just the show, yeah, Dracula. If we're talking about the series, it has to be, um, probably, I don't know actually. Dracula's kind of two-dimensional in the games. Maybe not in the newer ones, but I haven't played them all the way through, so I wouldn't know. Um, but yeah, easy Dracula in the show. He is just done so well. He's this almost omnipotent seeming character, yet he's holding back so much, which I think is just, I don't know, it's like being a really strong character often brings with it the problem of if they want to do something, why don't they do it? And the way that Dracula's written is he is this all-powerful character that wants nothing. Like he's basically just given up. And I really like that as a concept and as an idea. As someone who enjoys a lot of writing, um, yeah, I really like characters like that. Also the voice, oh my god. Lisa, I'm killing our boy. That has me in tears every time. Um, yeah, no, he's great. He's just all around. Oh, and his art's amazing, so that too. Especially when he was in that last fight, he was. Oh, he looked so good. Thanks for the question. I got you. I got you? I think so. I got you. That was on YouTube. What type of microphone do you use? From J/Lily on YouTube. I use a Shure, that's SHURE, MV5 condenser microphone. I actually picked it up for like $40 in some bargain bin. I didn't know what it was until I unpackaged it. But it's been it's been really good. Um, yeah, it was a real neato. Thanks for the question. I probably will change the mics eventually. Everyone seems to recommend the like Blue Yeti or whatever, but I'm still doing some more research into that. Thanks again for the question. How did you meet Castlevania? From Cinti Ariza. Oh, hi Cinti. That was on YouTube as well. How did I meet Castlevania? I took it out to dinner one night and we just hit it off, you know. No, I assume what you mean. Cinti is not. Cinti's. How to say? Cinti is just so passionate that sometimes her English is not correct, but she's just so excited, so we can always forgive. And plus, she's adorable. Um, how did I find Castlevania, I guess? When I was a kid, I played the games. Mainly my brothers played the games, and I just watched, because I was the youngest. But, yeah. I think Symphony of the Night was the first one I actually got to play a lot, and I played it all the time, because no one else was there. So thanks, Cinti. How do you like Japan? From Saphira on YouTube. Thanks, Saphira. I like it a lot. I have to like it. I've been here for 6 months. There are a few things I don't like about it. I'll get into that later because I can already see another question that kind of asks a similar line. But yeah, for the most part, I love it. The transport is amazing. The trains are really confusing at first, but once you understand it, I feel like you can get anywhere in under 10 minutes, and it's the best. Um, it's a cash-only country for the most part, so that's kind of annoying, but you get used to that as well. Just remember to use your coins if you come here, otherwise you'll end up with a massive pile of coins like I did. Not fun. I'll try and put a picture of that on the screen as well, because I actually have a picture of how many fucking coins I had. Um, when you aren't doing YouTube, oh, thanks for the question, Saphira. When you aren't doing YouTube, what do you enjoy doing? From Sinful Elegy on YouTube. Thank you, Sinful. Um, when I'm not doing YouTube, I'm usually trying to study or get some work done. But I suppose I'm just a big old nerd. I like video games. I like anime. It's part of the reason I'm in Japan, I guess. I'm not a huge weeb, but you get what I'm saying. I'm a casual fan, I guess. Um, but yeah, video games really, I guess. I've like made a few video games because I'm like into software and programming and coding and stuff. So I made a few. Not nothing good, but it's like a hobby. Um, and making websites is kind of fun. I've been like learning how to do that recently, so that's kind of interesting. For me at least. I know it's super boring for everyone else, but I don't know, something about just getting my ideas out onto the screen and then having that idea on other people's screens. It's kind of like with YouTube, which is why YouTube isn't really like a job or anything. It's more of a hobby again for me. What do I like to do? Back when I was in my home, like my home country, I actually liked to play music. I like to play guitar a lot. I've played guitar for 7 years. But I don't have that with me now, so that's been pretty rough. Uh, I like to take a lot of photos. Um, like a lot, like way too many. I have an iPhone 6, so it's not the best camera, and it definitely doesn't have a lot of space. So I fill up my phone maybe once every 5 or so days, maybe three if I go somewhere interesting, or like one if I go to Disneyland or something. Um, what else do I like doing? Sleeping, eating, human stuff. Also, also just watching things. Like I watch a lot of movies as well as anime. Um, don't watch as many TV shows just because I don't have TV connection, and the closest I get to TV shows is like Netflix shows, if that counts. Huge fan of lots of stuff. But I think someone asked a more movie and media related question, so I'll address that more in that question. Thank you so much, Sinful. That was a really nice question. How are the people in Japan like? And did you make some friends in the country? From Flor Wiko. Wicho? Wiko? I don't know, I'm sorry if I butchered your name. On YouTube. The people, for like 95% of the time, are wonderful. They're so nice. If you go to a store or something like that, I can guarantee it's probably going to be the best customer service you've ever had, depending on your views on customer service. But they're just ultimately super polite, super respectful. And these words seem like kind of stoic, like, oh, they're so nice, but so like reserved and not friendly. I had that misconception coming here too, but that's not the case at all. Um, they're respectful in the sense that when they're being super friendly, because most of them are, they just don't want to push anything at all. Sometimes it can actually be slightly frustrating though. So they'll say maybe a lot, like tabun, moshikashitara. Uh, they say it way too often. They'll even say it to direct yes or no questions. Um, I really like Abroad in Japan's videos, and he mentions this as well, where he says he asked someone if their dog was alive or not anymore, and they said maybe. It really does get that ridiculous sometimes, so respectful to a fault, I guess. But yes, I have made some friends in the country as well. I've made quite a few. Surprisingly, a lot of foreigners though, because my Japanese isn't very good. So I tend to rely a lot on meeting other people who speak English. A lot of them are native Japanese people who are very interested in English, um, but it tends to be other foreigners typically. Thanks for the question, Floor. Have you moved to Japan to study or work or what? From Natalia Alvarenga on YouTube. I hope I'm saying that right. I moved here to work mainly as an English teacher. I've tried a few different places and that was a bunch of fun. Uh, like from kindergarten to high school to private tutoring. Um, but you know, it wasn't really doing it for me. I think I stopped maybe like a few months ago, like looking for that sort of thing. Um, I did enjoy it though. It was lots of fun. Um, I have some crazy stories that I'll never be able to forget. Some are good, some are bad, some are really bad, but it's been a lot of fun. I came also to work on my Japanese because I think a language, like learning another language, just opens your perspective a bit. Because there are just some words in Japanese that we don't have in English, and there are some words we have in English that they don't have in Japanese, and it's interesting to understand how the cultures evolved in different ways, where some words were needed and some words were not. And the emphasis and importance placed on different words is really interesting to me. So thanks for the question, Natalia. What do you do in your free time? I kind of answered this before, but essentially, if I have, because I like to plan my days out, if I have a free slot, I honestly just like to jump on the Discord and talk to people, try and catch up with people on social media. I like to go through my photos that I've been taking. Like I usually take them when I walk to different places. Um, I go through my photos and pick good ones, and I'll usually post to Instagram or something. I might just start throwing a bunch in the Discord as well because I like to share my photos. And every moment that is free and I'm home, I'm probably playing a game or something. Lately, I've been really into Darksiders 2, because I want to finish it, and then I want to buy Darksiders 3, maybe if the reviews say it's good. I'm not sure yet. Sorry if you can hear my phone vibrating. I'm gonna move that onto my desk. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I do in my free time. The second part of the question is, and coffee, tea, or water from Izzy Taylor on YouTube. Well, Izzy, all three. Sorry if that's a disappointing question, like a disappointing answer, but you need all three, I think. Coffee is good in the morning to wake me up. Tea is good in the evening or afternoon because I usually drink teas with a purpose. You know, green tea for palate cleansing and feel goody goodness. Um, Peppermint tea if my stomach's feeling a little rough because it kind of soothes the stomach. It's also really good for when you're sick because it like clears the sinuses, especially if you breathe in the steam. Yeah, it's a busy day today. Sorry about that. But peppermint tea because it usually clears the sinuses, and water because y'all better be staying hydrated. I'm watching you. Water is extremely important. I can't stress that enough. I am guilty of not drinking enough of it most of the time, but I think it's really important that everyone does. It's really good for your skin, it's really good for your insides, it's really good for staying alive in general. Please drink more water. Thanks, Izzy. Um, do you have a favorite series, anime, cartoons, TV shows, etc., or any series you enjoy aside from Castlevania? And they crossed this one out, but I can still see the question. Also, are you a weeb? Shifty eyes. From Orion on YouTube. Thanks for the question, Orion. I think this is one of my favorites. Do I have a favorite series? Yes, big time. Changed my life, actually, I think. It's so. I'm gonna say it, and people are gonna be like, "Really? That's your favorite?" But yeah, no, it's a huge favorite of mine. I grew up loving this show. When it was brought out, I fell in love immediately. I've watched it and rewatched it maybe over 10 times. I'm not even kidding. And it's a 64 episode series. That's how well I know it. I know the exact amount of episodes. um, it's FMAB. It's Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. It is just such an amazing show. It means so much to me. Um, it just changed so much of how I think about things. So that is my favorite series. Um, if I had to pick a TV show, like a non-anime TV show, I don't know. Again, I don't watch a lot of TV shows. I can't remember the last one that really affected how I felt, which is kind of how I gauge good writing. Is this like, did it make me think about things? Did it make me feel something? Um, Heck, probably old school Merlin, if anyone remembers that show. Um, it was just a good show, and it was one of those shows, because it was kind of old, it was one of those shows that got me to start thinking when I was a kid, um, about things a little bit more intently, instead of just kind of watching it like, haha, funny man do the funny thing. Whoa, action guy make thing explode. That was basically what I thought like before I started watching things like Merlin. Um, Cartoons, Samurai Jack, when I was a kid. Again, it was entertaining, but it also made me start thinking about things, which I thought was pretty good. I was so happy when they made the newest Samurai Jack, by the way. And movies, um, did you say movies? No, you didn't say movies, so I'm not going to answer it. Thanks for the question, Orion. That question made me really happy. I love talking about my favorite shows and things. Do you like sports? Asked by Elotero on Discord, or is it Elotero? I don't know. um, Thanks for the question. Do I like sports? Yes and no. I like to play sports. I don't like to watch sports. I played a lot of basketball from primary school to high school, more so just to make my parents happy because they wanted me to pick a sport, and because my school was pretty heavy on picking a sport as well. For my first year of high school, I actually went to a sport excellence school. That didn't work out though. Not because I didn't like sport, but just because I didn't like the school. Everyone there was kind of terrible. Thanks for the question, Elitera. What kind of sports do you like? Let me know. I also like parkour. Is that a sport? I tried to get into parkour when I was in high school, but there's nothing to parkour on in suburban Australia. So we were more so just kind of kids that hung out at strange places and were a nuisance. Thanks for the question. This question is very important, and I can't stress enough. What's your favorite flavor of ice cream? From Natalia on Discord. My favorite flavor of ice cream is bubblegum, then chocolate, and then some sort of mint choc combination. Yeah, ice cream's important, kids. I don't know. It's difficult to narrow it down to one, obviously, but bubblegum has been like my go-to favorite. We have Cold Rock in Australia. It's Cold Stone in some countries, but we have Cold Rock, and you can mix in your own like gummy bears or whatever. Small chocolates, Kit Kats, that sort of thing. So I usually just get bubblegum, and then I go ham with like chocolates and stuff like that. I really love sweet stuff. I like stronger things as well, but sweet things are just perfect. Thanks for the question, Natalia. What's your favorite ice cream flavor? Favorite ASMR artist? Oh boy, there's a lot. I'd have to say probably right now my favorite is T Dracula. If you haven't checked her out, go do that. She's been a big influence and a huge help, as well as a very, very close friend of mine. She's amazing, so go check her out, please. The ones following that would probably have to be Ephemeral Rift. His D&D video made me laugh so hard. Yeah, I just love the guy. He's so weird, but his sounds are so good. And then he does some more serious videos, which I really appreciate. Aside from that, some pretty typical ones. GB ASMR, Zeitgeist. He's really, really good. Like, if I just want to zone out, I flip on some Zeitgeist ASMR and just let my ears drench in good sounds. Thanks for the question. That was from Seizure Zappelli on Discord. Now you're just making me sad thinking about, Caesar Zappelli. He's the real OG. What made you start your channel? From Natalia on Discord. Thank you so much, Natalia. So many good questions. What made me start my channel was that I had just watched Castlevania, and I heard what Alucard was saying in the fireside chat they had together. They were talking about, it's my first video, so it should make sense. They were talking about Dracula, and the way that Alucard described it was just like so amazing to me. Like, a good part of writing, other than just making people feel things and writing good characters that progress, I think, is dialogue and monologues, especially. Like Alucard's speech there was, man, the beauty in that writing cannot be overstated. It was just perfect. So I had to do it. Something in me just said, you have to make a video on that, because I thought that my voice sounded somewhat similar. You guys say it sounds exactly the same. I think you're way too kind, but thank you. So I had to give it a crack, and from there everyone was really nice and encouraging, and people loved it. I showed it to a few friends, and they said, wow, this is amazing. So I kept making it. Technically every video I've done has been a request, because someone told me I should do that first Alucard video. So in a way, it's all requests. The channel was made by request. So thank you, Natalia. Another one from Natalia. You flatter me too much. What languages do you speak? English, Japanese, little bits of Russian and French, and a little bit of Italian. Just a bit. I used to speak Sindarin Elven from Lord of the Rings, because like I said, I'm just this huge freaking nerd. It's not a good thing. Look, all I remember is Sulase and ooh, which is no. Yeah, let's not talk about that. Does being able to speak like the dragon language from Skyrim count? I think everyone knows a little bit of the dragon language from Skyrim, right? Fusroda, Yol, that kind of thing. Dovahkiin. That sort of thing. I'm getting so flustered with these questions, guys. I'm so sorry. Thank you, Natalia. How'd you become such a nice person? Spoiler alert, I didn't, Zippy Zaps. Your name has too many P's in it. You jerk. No, I'm kidding. I'm not really that nice, I don't think. I actually think I'm kind of a harsh person in my day-to-day life. Not that I'm faking how I am on YouTube, but I do feel much nicer just because the initial response from everyone is always so nice. So I always think that if someone's nice to me, you should be nice back. So when people are not nice to me, I'm not nice back. So I'm not a very nice person, but I'm nice to you guys because you're nice to me. Does that answer your question? Thank you for the question, Zippy Zaps. That was on Discord, by the way. What's your favorite animal? From Ari on Discord. My Japanese is getting worse as I'm getting ready to go home, so I think Ari is right. I should be able to read the basic alphabet of Japanese. My favorite animal. This is a weird answer, but I kind of like dragons. Dragons are my favorite, if that counts. My post-it notes behind me are falling down. I hope you can't hear that. Dragons are my favorite animal, if we're allowed to pick like fantasy creatures, followed by like phoenixes and direwolves, that kind of thing. But if I had to pick a real favorite animal, like an actual living animal, I would probably pick some sort of owl. I just think they're kind of cute, and they represent some really cool things in history and cultural stories. Owls are just the bomb. They also make for good animals to have on socks. And speaking of socks, I also like foxes. Fox socks are also pretty cool. Thanks for the question, Ari. Last question, another one from Natalia. Natalia, love you so much. Do you have a book or a movie that changed your life? Yes, I was looking forward to this question. Slightly answered before with a series that changed my life, which was FMA. Um, that was a huge, thing for me when it came out. But even more than that, I would say I have quite a few books that changed the way I look at things. I'm a huge fan of, well, my favorite book to start with is Divine Comedy, the three-part, which is, kind of a long read, and it's very abstract, and I think, honestly, the first few times I read it, I wasn't really reading it, I was just kind of like, whoa, look at me, I'm so cool, I can read this really old book. But, eventually it sunk in, and the message behind it really, I couldn't even begin to explain in a video where I'm already going way longer than I thought I would. And my throat is so dry. I haven't had a single sip of water this whole time. I couldn't even begin to approach the full meaning of the story, but trust me, it's life-changing, and the only way that you would understand that is if you read it a few times yourself. I'm sorry. Or look up some cliff notes on it. I'm sure they'll explain it way better than I ever could. As for a movie, a few, actually, but just a few other books as well. Recently, 12 Rules for Life was a very good book of mine. I actually study psychology, studied for 3 years, so it was really interesting to see a perspective from a... Sorry, the cars are just fucking crazy today, and there's some construction nearby. I'm so sorry if you can hear all of that. But, yeah, reading 12 Rules for Life was really interesting. As I said before, Divine Comedy is my favorite book, and that's heavily religious, even though me, myself, I'm not religious. But, you can still take a lot of the messages from it without believing the underlying concept of a god or anything like that. They're more metaphorical, which I actually think is the bigger intent of a lot of religious texts, but that's a whole other video. But that sort of biblical feeling that's present in all of Divine Comedy is definitely present in 12 Rules for Life as well, which is maybe why I like it so much, but merged with another passion of mine, which is psychology. So that was really interesting for me. I've never seen another book that comes close to that sort of a weird fusion of those two genres, of biblical style text and psychological analysis of a self-character. That was, yeah, and I strongly agree with all the rules in the book as well. I think they're worded a little abstractly, but I think that's on purpose. It's kind of humorous. Movies that changed my life. Number one movie that changed my life. Blade Runner? Duh. Are we just not going to talk about Blade Runner? I don't know, I like movies that make you think. I think that Blade Runner was one of those movies for me. Like, it was so old. But the moment I saw it, I was just like, wow, this is so cool. Why are these people acting this way? Because I was really young. Why are these people acting this way? And then the way it was explained to me was like, oh, well, they're not really people. They're people created by other people, and they have a limited lifespan. I'm just like, so they're people. Like, you just described a human. We're all created by other people, and we all have a lifespan. And then the adult that was trying so hard to help me had just sort of given up. But as I delved deeper into the meaning and kind of became obsessed with reading between the lines of the cinematography and the narrative, I fell in love with that movie. And what it means to be human, I think, is one of the best questions we can ask ourselves, which is one of the reasons I like Devilman, if anyone Watch that. You know, Devilman Crybaby, the Netflix one? That was really good. Sorry, I'm coughing so much. But yeah, I think it changed my life in the same way that a lot of these media pieces have been changing my life. I just open my viewpoint a little bit more, and every time I open my viewpoint, I find something about myself that I like or I don't like, or that I wish I had or I wish I didn't have. And I set out to change it, and usually with some modicum of success, as long as I keep the initial source point of my inspiration or motivation in mind, which is the movie or book. And if I start to, fall away from that, I usually just go back and read it or watch it. But if I had to pick like one major thing that changed my life, movie or book, honestly, probably FMA. It's full of so many meaningful and heartbreaking but inspirational moments. So many life lessons, culminating in the final, speech in the series. Like that speech alone is pretty much how I try to live my life. So just, yeah, I can't think of a single thing that's affected my life more than that. Which sounds so lame, because when you look at it really, it's just some really cool anime. But for me, it's like this life-altering thing. That's the last question. Thank you, Natalia. Thank you, everyone who sent your questions in. I'm sorry that the video is probably going to be a little long. How long are we going here? Oh boy, we've passed the 37-minute mark. I hope the noises haven't been too harsh. I hope that you enjoyed my answers. If I didn't get to your question, I'm so sorry. Maybe I'll do another one of these in like a few months or something. You can always ask me questions on the Discord. A lot of people have been hanging out there. It's a good time. Thank you so much for sitting through 37 minutes of this, and I hope you enjoyed. And I'm not going to mispress the pause button like last time. This time I've got it. I just had to line it up while I was buying time with that awkward speech. Thank you guys